Hello friends, and today we're going to model something else than a carabiners, but this thing is pretty interesting. It's like Y2K Pager or some sort of that technology that we probably never will see again. It's decently easy, but it will be interesting to model this thing, model this chain, and this little link here. We will drop it in the Blender and do a quick, beautiful render using my free light setup that you can download on the Gumroad. So let's jump in it. Let's basically start from the circular shape here. It will be just a regular circle. The size is about 4 by 4 centimeters, but you can pick any size you like. I will do it like that. Let me just size this thing a little bit more to fit this shape. And let's extrude the base here. So I think this is about 2 centimeters in thickness or maybe less. So let's do a 7 millimeters here and then add the thickness if we will need it. Next, let's create this generous bevel here, more like fillet. Yeah, it's something like this. Good. And let's create these buttons and screen. I will start from the screen and I will use a sphere for that. So I will drop the sphere here and I need it as a new body. And I will just position it like that. Perfect. I will select it and scale it on the Z-axis like this. And then scale it on the Y-axis to have this nice monitor screen vibe here. Let's try to make it even more like that. Yeah, perfect. So it will definitely have the shape to it. We can make it even a bit inside of there. Good. Now let's jump in the buttons. It's basically the same thing. So we will just duplicate this screen, make it smaller, and rotate it something like that, and position somewhere in this place. Yep. I will make it a little bit here, and I need it to be a bit wider. So I will make it a bit like that. Like the old Nokia keys. They were a bit more bumpier. And let's just duplicate it all over the place. So we need one here. We need one here. Let's scale this thing a little bit, just to match these things. And let's make the central one from this screen. Let's repeat this process. Make it, I think, a little bit bigger because it's the central one. Something like this. And make it somewhere over here. I just think this lower button needs to be a bit more wider, and this one too. Yeah, so they are not the similar one with these boys. Maybe a bit like that and a bit here. So we have the base shape here, and we can perform the booleans. I will hide the reference mesh because I don't need it right now. I will select my boolean mesh, the mesh I'm going to bool in, and then I will select all these boolean objects and press Q. Perfect. I also need to have all of these shapes preserved, so I will press T for keep tools. Let's do it like that. Perfect. And now I basically will create a little bevels over here. Something like this style of thing. Let's make all of this the same size. Kinda like this. Just small, gentle ones. And let's make all of these buttons just a little bit loosen here. Just a bit. Just all of them. Make them differently because it will look more naturally in the result. So here is the interesting part here. Yeah, I definitely don't need the back plate of this thing, so I will hide this on the H. Or actually I will use this edge to create this line for the cut. I will hide this thing and I will move it a bit lower here. Yep. And then I press C and cut this object like that. And I will press X to delete everything. This thing I want it to be glass. I will just I can create the circle and delete the back, or I can just Shift D, move it a little bit here and just boolean it out. This one, then select this one and press Q to boolean this shape out of it. Just to make a nice screen here. Let's do Alt X here from this side to this side, apply it. Alt H to see this mesh and do the Alt X here as well, but with Q. So we will have all these nice things here from the both sides. Let me see the reference picture again. Yeah, that's beautiful. We need to drop one juicy bevel here, like this, I think. Perfect. And I think it should be something like G2. Why not? It will be just more pinchy here. And we can play with the tension if we like. Maybe we want 0.8. Yeah, look at this thing type. Let's do 0.6. Pretty cool. Okay, let's get rid of redundant topology. And we have something strange here. G is it in the center? X. Yes, this one wasn't in the center. So I will just Alt X it again to make it good. Good. QQ. Okay, that's good. But here is a little not in the center. Yep, like this. Just position it in the center. If you encourage the same problem, it's not a big deal. Just reposition everything and make it in the place. Like that. Perfect. Let me just redo this central holes. Pretty quickly and redo this monitor here too. That's pretty good that we have face this problem here. It will just give us more space to think. Yeah, I think this one is pretty good, so we don't need to fix it. Let's just drop it like this, so it will have nice bevel. And let's do the Q here and P for keep tools. Nice. And bevel these things on the sides. Like that. I think I want the central ones to be a bit bigger than the side ones. Yeah, that is cool. I like how it looks. Let me just make this, I think, a bit bumpier here, like that. Yeah. Yeah, this is much better. Very cool shape. And I want to fix this little nasty thing. Okay, I will just delete everything on this side, like Shift X, and I will select this and do a Shift J here. And this all should be G1. And let's Alt exit to the other side and press Q to merge it. Okay, perfect. So let's leave it like that. And let's move to the top part of this asset. We definitely want to do a Alt X of it and drop it back here. And we don't need this back plate. I think it's all will be just this. I will just select it. I will isolate it. I will select everything inside of this thing. And I will do a Shift X. And then I will just Shift J it on the G1. Perfect. And I also do the same thing here, do a Shift J, but on a G0, because we don't have any continuation here. Let me just drop out of this isolation mode, delete the curve, and put everything that we have here to the mesh. Let me just select it as a red box, so I will select from the left to right only the truly selected parts. And I will just drop a fillet here, a nice little fillet. Let me see the reference. Now I need this torus. I think I will drop a circle, something like this over here. I will put it a little bit lower and I will use the pipe. Good. And I will make it smaller like that. Okay, and G, pi, try to position in the middle, somewhere here. I think I can make it a bit thinner here. Perfect. And let's just merge it together on the QQ and bevel these things to nicely roll inside of this thing like that. Okay, and let's finish it up with this small carabiner, of course, and chain link and this thing. So this thing is pretty simple. It's just a spiral. So I will hide my mesh. I don't need it right now. And I will do this spiral here. Like that. And let's make it something like this. I need it to be more squeezed here and have less turns. So it's basically, I think, have 2 or 3 turns. Let's leave it on 2 and let's squeeze it more like that. Cool. Yeah, here is our thing and let's apply it. Okay, and now we need to swipe a box on this thing. So how it's gonna work? Let me just do a pipe and let me just make it 4. So I will have this type of pattern here. And I also want to twist it a bit on the something like that. 46, that's good number. And let's select the side one and just make it a bit larger here. This is the nice thing. We can even squeeze it a bit more to make it more tension here. Let's rotate it and position it in the correct spot of this piece. Nice. Should be something like this. Next, let's do this little carabiner here. Not something super complicated like we have done earlier, but it has its small things. So let's look on it closely. It's just a curve with couple cuts. A small circle here and another small circle here, like that. So after we created these circles, we need to match them. I will just drop a central line here and drop the central line here and trim these circles from the sides. Delete these things, and now I can perform Shift B here on the G1 because I want this little more interesting shape here. Let's just do it like this. It'll be much more cooler to have this type of carabiner. Now let's select everything, press join and do a P for pipe and make it a bit bigger. So yeah, now you see what I'm talking about. This shape is much more beautiful than just a simple circle. It has this little gaps that makes it much more stronger. This mech over here, it's not super hard. Let's just create a Ctrl R over here and Ctrl R and Ctrl R over here. And we will just extrude this thing like that. And the last thing, I'm going to drop the Ctrl R here again and select all these parts and just do a Shift D here. Perfect. I will hide this shit and I can delete all these things. Shift X. Bring this one back to me. Let's go to isolation mode. And let's Shift J this thing like that. And Shift J this thing like that. Perfect. The same is here. Shift J. Shift J. Good. And next thing, we need to create this little mechanism to work. So we will definitely have this one a little bit lower, like that. And we will cut it in the middle over here with a simple corner box. But we will make it a central one. Good, like this. Put it over here and do a C and cut this mesh. Delete this inner piece, we don't need it. And now we can merge them. But before we do so, we need to make this top part some sort of a connector too. So let's make it like that. Do Alt H here. And let's just cut it out like we should. So we will use the same corner box here, but we will make it a bit larger here just to match this side roughly, and the same for the other side. we will just do a Alt X. Alt X here. Yes. Let's do a Shift D. Delete these things and press C. Cut this thing out. Here we have it. Let's delete this one out of here and this one as well. So now we have something like this. And we need to make here a little Ctrl R and drop it like that. Perfect. And now we need to just extrude this thing here. And it will work as expected. So yeah, we need to drop here some circle for this mechanism. I believe it should be here. G, V, put it here, move it a little bit here and do a C, cut. Okay, hide this one. And let's make this a little bit bigger. Alt H. And boolean this thing together like Q, but keep tools. Good. Let me make it a bit smaller here. And now we can see how this thing should work. I will definitely bool this inside of this part. So I will select this. No, I will select this one and I will boolean it away. So first thing, I will just cut this one so it won't interrupt. Hide it. And now I can freely bool this thing. Kinda like this, but keep the tools. T. That's good. To the top. Lower these parts to the top. Sounds pretty cool. Let's lower them like that. And here we see this beautiful mesh. And I will lower these parts too over here, maybe more. And let's bevel them like this. So it will look much more interesting. Yeah, you know, I want to make it like that. And I want to R, V, and yeah, just make it like this. And then do this bevel thing. Yeah, perfect. This is cool. And I will just Alt exit to this side, Q to merge it. Nice. Let me hide this thing. And let me bevel this one. Like that. And this thing should be over here. Just to make the nice round scrolling. Let's just drop it to the full. Cool. I also want to make this one as this thing. Will be much more nicer shape. Mirror it to other side. And let's try to RV. Put it here. And yep, it's working. And now let's try to create the top part. So I will basically lower this thing here. And I want to match face it to here. And now we can do something that will fit into this thing. I think we need to cut it with some sort of a box. Let me just press Shift Space I will place the construction plane here and drop a rectangle box, but from the center, and make it like this. And let's just extrude it here. Don't need this box. I'll take it back. And let's just cut it here, but fit it inside of this thing, like that. That's good. And let me just take this thing and do S, Y, and make it something like this. Just delete this construction plane. And I want it to be cut to the top with this shape, so I press E and just boolean it out like that. And I will drop Ctrl R here and create these little T shapes over here to fit this carabiner part. Nice. Let's make this a little bit lower here. And this one should be a little bit higher. And more higher here. This thing is definitely should be deleted. Some weird one. And yes, here we have one nice thing. Let's just make it a bit bigger here and a bit bigger here, and try to do a little bevels from this side like that, and one here like that. And we want ourselves one bevel over here too. So it will be this interesting shape here. Okay, and let's just alt text it to this side, Q, merge it. Cool. So we have this thing working. Yep, here it is. Pretty cool one. And now let's position it to the top. Reveal our other meshes. Make it like this. And I think I will just rotate it on the 90° and position it somewhere here. And here is pretty much it. So let's drop it to the blender, do this little chain, and we're pretty much done. So I have my scene ready here with all my basic lights that you can download for free in my light setup. And I will just press the refresh button and have my assets here. I will select all of them and drop them a little bit lower here and reposition the camera just so you can see them together like that. Perfect. Let me just make them all connected to this one by Ctrl P. Let's chain link this thing here, Ctrl P object. Individual origins, and let me just set origin to geometry, and let me do a little of this thing, maybe position it like that. Set origin to geometry, and I will position this thing the same as on the reference. Yeah, that's good. And let's position this bad boy a bit like that, I think. Yeah, and move it over here. Good. And I think we can rotate him a little bit on y-axis. Yeah, let's do it like this. And let me move him somewhere here. Now let's drop a curve, just a path, and make some sort of a circle here that we will use for chain. Just drop something like this, make it smaller, apply the scale, move this curve somewhere here, select this, Shift S to cursor, and now we can do a curve and array. So I will just drop some arrays here and select the curve, and now it should follow. Yeah, nice. And let's position this thing. Don't forget to drop it to the median point. Something like that. Yes. Let me make the factor a bit lower, and I want it to be rotated. I will create an empty here. Let's do an arrow, and let's select this arrow as an object. Good. And let's just rotate it something like that. Perfect. Just make sure you're doing everything in one origin, because if it will leave this place, you will be fucked. So yeah, just simply move it here and combine this thing together with this link like that. Let's just make it over here. And let me just create the fit the curve and select the curve. Nice. Merge it together with this thing. Like that. Yeah. Perfect. So now we can drop the materials and render it out. I will just use a simple metallic BSDF. Like that. Let's do it from scratch. And I will plug it in. And I will use the node tangent to switch between the radiuses of this thing for anisotropy. So if I do it like that and start drop a rotation, you can see how this thing can interact. Sometimes can give us pretty cool effects. So it should be metal, definitely. Let's drop it like a rough metal here. Maybe a bit bluish like that. Perfect. And let's drop some interesting vibe to it. So I will just copy it from one to another, Control L, link materials. That's good. Let's a bit switch the lights here. I think this one is much better. And yep, let's drop this metal on every single piece that we have. Let's just select everything and do Control L, link materials. That's cool. Maybe it's better to use a glass BSDF. So let's drop it like that. And let's make this glass a bit rough and drop it like this. Maybe a bit greenish color. Yeah, that's cool. These buttons should also be something like green, but more darker. Yeah, like that. Let me just quickly see. Yeah, they are a lot darker. They are rough. Let's drop them a little bit of metallic here. And let's make them like that. Cool. Let's Control L, link materials. That's interesting. Make it like that. And let's also make the inside thing of it with this sound wave thing. So I will just hide this thing and I will take this shit here and just drop a Shift D and place P selection. Good. I'll just take this thing and put it on a little bit here on the y-axis and set origin to geometry and make it a little bit smaller. And I can definitely try to UV it. U project from... No, we can do a cube projection here, definitely. Here it is. Nice. The thing that we are looking for. Okay, and let's try to drop the material here. So we don't need this, we need new. We need Control T, and let's open this sound wave. Yep, here it is, working as a charm. Let's drop the roughness here and let's drop the emission to the color here. Yep, and let's drop it to the top. Search, we can use a color ramp. Let's try it. Let's make it more obvious here. Yeah, like this. Just adjust it a bit and do Alt H to have this screen back, and let's just play a little bit with roughness. This is just a screenshot of upcoming video, so yeah, the sound wave from DaVinci Resolve, if you wonder. Okay, so here is that beautiful asset. The only thing we can do here to make it even more spicier, I think, is just to drop a little bit of dirt on this thing. So yeah, let's just do a Shift D here, Control Shift D. Let's merge these two materials and let's create a color ramp and make some sort of a... I will use the noise nodes. You can enable them in the add-on section of the Blender. Perlin noise for that. Good. Let me just drop it here. Let me just see how it will go. Yeah, it's pretty much nice. Just drop it like this and that. Let's make it smaller. Play with dimension a little bit and drop the scale to be like this, I think. Yeah, and let's try to change the rotation of this one, and it will give us some thing like that, and we can do it less rough, so it will distort it a bit. Yeah, that's cool. And make it more dirty, like that. Yeah, so here you have it, your juicy little asset made in Plasticity and rendered in Blender. I hope you are doing great. I hope you are creating cool assets, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.